Well, hello there. I'm Christine and welcome to today's video where I'm wanting to talk to you and discuss the full moon on Cancer on the 6th or the 7th, depending where you are, of January 2023. I'm just going to make some camera adjustments and slide adjustments here, screen adjustments. Just let's see how we go. Yep, that worked, and I just might mess with the zoom. Or maybe it's all right to have all that. It's a bit sort of full on, isn't it? Configuring it. I can zoom a little bit. Had people fooling with my stuff. I don't know. Let's leave it at that. And tip the camera back a tiny bit. There we go. Let's leave it at that. Let's leave it at that. So what we have here is this is a lunar astrology chart by the astrology chart making company Luna, L-U-N-A. I will put it in the notes. They're wonderful software, astrology software. Well, I find they are anyway. It's really helpful for me. And this full moon in Cancer on the 6th or 7th of January 2023, I've done the chart at 9:07 in Brisbane, Australia, where I am. It is a 0 degrees Aries chart because that's what I like to do a lot of the time. That's what I learned from in the sort of late 70s, that and then the equal house system as well. So there's no right or wrong way with charts, so you can always get the chart up yourself if you have chart things, or go to astro.com and look at the chart for yourself and have a good look at it, because it's always a nice way to view astrology through a chart. So looking at what we have here is we have, depending where you are, this full moon will be on January the 6th in London at 2300 hours and 7 minutes, LA 1507, New York 1807, in Sydney on the 7th 10:07 because they are on daylight savings time, and in Brisbane where I am 9:07 a.m. So and of course this full moon occurs at 16 degrees Cancer in opposition to the Sun and Mercury, which are 16 degrees in Capricorn, which is forming a T-square when you look at the map. A T-square is formed when two planets are in opposition to each other, and they're also 90 degrees, one of them, both are 90 degrees squared to a third planet, which I think, looking at the chart, is Jupiter. So what happens then is, normally the full moon is a Cancer moon, and it's a moon in water, and opposite and the Earth, Sun, obviously, which creates full moon. And normally this should sort of be a nice time, but this sort of can create quite a little bit of tension with this T-square, and it can be a bit of an energy to navigate. The Sun in Capricorn and Mercury, even though Mercury is retrograde, it can represent the individual's mind and logical thinking and a sense of responsibility when those two are coming together. And it can be focused on Capricorn energy, and the Sun focuses on all that practical energy of long-term goals and being disciplined in your approach. And the moon in Cancer, on the other hand, focuses on represents also the individual emotional nature, our need for security and a sense of stability. And the moon in Cancer can also have us, with Mercury retrograde particularly, reflecting on the past and where we possibly belong. So there's sort of like some energies to sort of work through at the moment. And so we feel like we're like the moon card. We feel like we are pulled in two different directions, and it's like the beginning of the year where we've come out of the pool, especially in Australia where you've been in the pool over the Christmas break, and you're going to have to make it up here. And these are the other major planetary changes that will happen in this year, and you have this moon in opposition with the Sun, and it's also the beginning of the year, and it's on the road and where that will take us. And so we're starting the year on one level with this lunation, with a sense of being pulled in two different directions and some conflicting energy, where we need to find balance with the demands of the outside world and our individual and also our emotional needs. And it can be quite a bit to process on an inner level. And as you know, with this card, it is very much with the water and inner level, but there's a lot of air energy as well there, and you've got the earth, so it is very much this energy happening with that. The Mercury is in Kazemi, because Mercury at 16 degrees and the sun at 16 degrees in aligned. In the Arabic terms, it is known as the heart of the sun, Kazemi, and it's a special alignment that allows us to tap into our unconscious mind and often receive insights and downloads from the cosmos. Now, whilst this can be exciting to experience, any work that we do, because I'm also a hypnotherapist, but any unconscious work people do and dream work and energy to where people who are sensitive to planetary energies can be partly exhilarating, but also be a sense of being drained, because we need time to process and integrate what comes through for a lot of us. And these energies can be conflicting and wanting us to one hand to be focused on this, but also needing that downtime, and the emotions can be heightened at this time. So with a T-square, self-care can be very important, because when we're dealing with partly exhilarating energies and tensions and stress, there can be a tendency to neglect our own needs and put them on the back burner. And so with this, if you're finding these energies challenging, you may need to stop and reflect for a minute, which is the Mercury retrograde part of all this, and say, well, what will help me at the moment if you are someone that is sensitive to energies? Because physical activity can help, a gentle exercise, maybe some sort of short walk, good nutrition during this time would help, just sort of being sensible with looking after yourself, and getting enough rest and enough sleep, and so you can maintain your ability to deal what has us feeling being pulled in two directions here, like it's that story with the two wolves, which wolf will win, and it's usually the one you feed if you tend to have some worries and concerns through the Cancer energy. But it's also a time where we can look after ourselves by doing some journaling or any hobbies and activities that bring us joy and calmness and a charge to recharge our batteries, and find some joy and relaxation in this time, rather than being sort of stressed at a unconscious level and not realizing where this energy is coming from. And so pick something that you like to do. Some people like to paint, some people like to journal, some people like to sketch, some people just like to sit in nature and stare, or be at home. Like I know in the northern hemisphere, if you're in a colder climate, it might be a nice time to be at home and make some lovely nurturing soups and things like that, depending where you are. Obviously, we're here in Australia, aircon on or under cool shady trees, doing all that ventilation stuff to look after yourself and keep the home comfortable and cool, and drink plenty of fluids. It's just all that sort of stuff that's reasonably common sense. And it's also to remember that self-care is not a luxury. When we're in the fourth house, which is the fourth house of home and family and self-care, and looking after ourselves, it's part of looking after and managing our total well-being with this energy, and also prioritizing self-care practices to help navigate the energy of the week coming and of the full moon. I'll do another video on the week that's coming up with that, because that was my main thing to talk about on this video, was the self-care, because I mean I've had some wild dreams. I've had sleep, waking up through the night as the energy's building with the full moon. I'm very susceptible to lunar energies, even though for me personally, I have the moon in Aquarius, and it's almost like I download stuff like a wretched antenna, like on one of those towers that they have on the hills, that has us getting all the messages, the towers, like so TV channels and things like that. And so that's sort of a very interesting time. So take care of yourself, and I'd love to know in the comments where your moon is and how you deal with full moon energies, so that if you place it in the comments, you might be able to help someone else who is someone who is susceptible or sensitive to planetary or lunar energies. So I hope this video helps, and I look forward to seeing you on the next video. Bye for now.